I'm Nicole Aiello, and welcome to my presentation on the direct and indirect implications of sound in Australia. I will be introducing sound techniques and devices that have impacted various elements such as social, economic, technological, and so on within the country and continent of Australia. Sound navigation and ranging, otherwise known as sonar, are technological developments being used to determine the sound impact on the marine life surrounding Australia, according to the Australian Government's Department of Environment and Energy. There are two general versions of sonar devices or techniques currently in use: passive and active. Passive sonars are listening devices that utilize an acoustic receiver that emits no sound itself but absorbs the sounds around it. It is used to determine the presence, characteristics, and direction of marine noise sources. Examples of these sources may include animal communication, ships, or submarines. Active sonar is a method using reflection of sound waves to locate objects underwater for detection and navigation purposes. Used by private, commercial, and military sectors, examples include detection of marine life and sea structures, like fish, mines, or rocks, and human-made structures, like ships or aircraft wrecks and oil rigs or pipelines. The Royal Australian Navy, in consultation with the Department of the Environment, Water, Heritage, and the Arts, are using military-grade sonar to detect animal migrations to avoid cetacean stranding. There's no evidence that human sound sources have caused cetacean stranding events. It has also been noted that the potential for impact is dependent on the individual species' hearing response characteristics, behavioral sensitivity, and distance from the sound source. The laws of acoustics have been applied and mastered to make the Sydney Opera House sound beautiful. It has struggled in the past with its concert hall's acoustics, and it's getting the upgrade it needs. The stage will be lowered, the walls beneath the boxes will tilt differently, and new acoustic reflectors will replace the plastic donuts that have been hanging above the stage since 1973. Improving the acoustics in the concert hall is a critical part of renewal, says the Sydney Opera House CEO, Lewis Heron. The new acoustic reflectors are made of wood and shaped like flower petals or guitar picks. As the Sydney Symphony Orchestra rehearses, sonar devices are positioned in empty seats to record the impact of the sound these reflectors are making. Niels Erik Lund is a sound engineer who says audiences will immediately appreciate how much better orchestras play and hence sound. The changes to the concert hall are designed to do two main things: get sound back down to the orchestra so players can hear themselves and each other, and get more first reflections to the stalls and up into the circle. Since 1974, the National Acoustic Laboratories of Australian Hearing, the Commonwealth Department of Human Services, has been researching and developing devices and methods to improve the livelihoods of people afflicted by hearing loss. Funding is received through grant programs, councils, and the government to contract and collaborate with hearing rehabilitation and protection organizations within the industry. Approximately 40 researchers and even more volunteers publish journals and present at conferences. Projects currently under development impact Australia's social and economic atmospheres and directly aid its population. They include large-scale data and hearing rehabilitation with perceived impacts on the outcomes of future technology or process changes, clinical guidelines for candidates for trainable devices, with the goal of devising a streamlined protocol for selecting candidates for devices and their training, and IDEAL, infant discrimination and early acquisition of language study, which will assist clinicians to better manage hearing loss in young infants and identify those children who may benefit from implants than a hearing aid. Artificial noise pollution is made by humans, such as traffic, machinery, and electronics. This pollution differs from the natural noise pollution, which is created by animals and nature in general, as the environment and its population has adapted to these sounds, unlike their non-adaptation of the human-made noise pollution. Artificial noise pollution is directly impacting Australia's acoustic environment for its terrestrial inhabitants. Land species such as the Pobblebonk frog and other highly vocal frogs were observed as struggling to be heard by interested mates in a study conducted in Australia. Artificial noise pollution can be combated by developing quieter human-made structures, lowering speed limits, education, improving site planning, and environmental assessments both before and after construction. Professor Graham Clark founded the Bionic Ear Institute in 1986 after successfully developing the world's first bionic ear. His team has been leading the way in research at the University of Melbourne's Department of Otolaryngology and implanted the first cochlear implant at the Royal Victorian Eye and Ear Hospital. The Institute has gone on to engineer a portable speech processor, multiple electrode bionic ear, and given the gift of hearing to 450,000 people in more than 120 countries. Bionic eyes, ears, and other neurobionic devices are being researched throughout the various programs at the Institute, as it has broadened its bionic technologies to assist those with blindness, epilepsy, Parkinson's, IBS, and strokes. I appreciate you taking the time to view my presentation. Please feel free to contact me with any questions or concerns.